So this, of course, is a big diplomatic win for India. The New Delhi Declaration has been adopted during the G20 Summit. The G20 leaders have decried the use of force for territorial gains. In a summit statement, interestingly, there was no mention by name of Russia, which was named as an aggressor in the previous Bali Declaration. And WION The World gets you this report.
It was thought to be unachievable. Diverse agendas from ideologies to conflict. Deep divisions over Russia-Ukraine war. Chinese president giving the G20 summit a miss. The task was cut out, bringing the world's most powerful nation to come to an agreement. But how to bring Russia and the US on the same page? Experts weighed in on the impossibility of the outcome. But the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi walked the slippery slope of diplomacy and managed to achieve consensus.
अभी एक खुशखबरी मिली है। हमारी टीम्स के हार्डवर्क से और आप सभी के सहयोग से नई दिल्ली G20 लीडर्स समिट डिक्लेरेशन पर सहमति बनी है।
The declaration came after over 150 hours of intense negotiations between the G20 Sherpas as the deal was hammered out. Remember, the West wanted the communique to strongly condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine, something which was obviously unacceptable to the other side.
Obviously, because of the ongoing conflict, the strong views about it, considerable time was spent, especially in the last few days, in regard to geopolitical issues, which really centered around the war in Ukraine.
The G20 statement reinforces the principles that states could not use force for territorial gain, that using nuclear weapons was inadmissible, and that a just peace must be based on the principles of the UN Charter, including the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity.
This is, I think, as much as was possible to get. It was not only Russia that opposed a more stricter language, it was also China and some other countries. So it was difficult. And again, it's a success to pull this off.
The differing views on the Russia-Ukraine war had prevented agreement on even a single communique at ministerial meetings during India's G20 presidency so far this year. This New Delhi declaration marks a major victory for India, which has been seeking a focus on development issues at the G20 instead of geopolitical issues dominating the agenda.
Two outcomes from the proceedings of the G20 today. First, of course, the joint statement success. It's a miracle in every sense possible. A joint statement with the mention of Ukraine, and all sides happy about it. And second, of course, inclusion of African Union as a member of the G20 countries, which shows not only that India prioritizes Africa, but also something that is supported by all member countries of the grouping. With video journalist Ajit Sudhansubal for WION in New Delhi.
And also we earlier spoke with Mr. Anil Vadva, who's a former Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs. He mentioned about the 100% consensus on the Delhi Declaration right on day one of the G20 Summit. Listen to what he had to say.
Not really. I think it was expected that there would be efforts made right till the end to get Delhi Declaration. And what has now emerged after the declaration has been adopted is that the final paragraphs related to Ukraine war were actually underwent some changes at the last moment. And in fact, it was only last night that they were put across to a delegation like China and Russia in order to get their consensus. So paragraphs 9 to 14 in the joint declaration were redrafted and represented. The drafting, of course, was done by the Indian delegation based on consultations which took place over the last few days. And that's how, consensus was reached.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.